Hey everyone, it's Sarah, and today I am back to talk about my top 5 rose fragrances for summer. This is a subscriber requested video. I've been asked to do some kind of top 10, top 5 kinds of lists, which is funny because I don't do them that often. I'll do list videos, but I don't do top 5 or top 10s very often. I am gonna do an updated, if I lost my entire collection, the perfumes that I would purchase and repurchase immediately, or basically fragrances that I can't live without. I've definitely done a video like that before, but I'll do an updated one. But anyways, I'm gonna be quiet and let's jump right in. These are my 5 most favorite rose fragrances for summer. I think that these are all amazing in heat. They're fresh enough that they can tolerate really, really high heat, especially for people like me who are living in very hot climates. These are really great roses for that. And the first one I'm gonna start with is this one here. This is Guerlain Mon Guerlain Bloom of Rose. Oh, do I love this fragrance. It's funny because for me, this doesn't really have anything to do with any of the other Mon Guerlains. Gosh, it's got such a nice sprayer on it too. Yeah, so for me, this doesn't smell like any other Mon Guerlain. This is very much its own fragrance. So the only thing that I would say this has in common with Mon Guerlain is the vanilla note, as well as lavender. This has got a ton of citrus in it though, so it's definitely got a very prominent neroli note as well. It does come in 2 different formulations. So it does come in an EDP as well as an EDT. This is the Eau de Toilette formulation. I have not smelled the Eau de Parfum formulation of this fragrance. But yeah, it is really, really beautiful. It's very bright, very fresh, very citrusy. It's got a touch of rose in the middle. It's not like rose heavy. And it's definitely bright and modern smelling. It's not dated smelling in any way. It doesn't even really smell like traditional rose because the citruses are so strong in the top. It's got some jasmine in it, some vanilla in the base. It's just a really, really beautiful fragrance. But I think if you're looking for a fragrance that smells like Mon Guerlain, you would be disappointed by this one because it doesn't have much to do with any of the other Mon Guerlains. I've got 3 formulations besides this of Mon Guerlain, and they all are very similar to each other. This one though is very, very different, but it is a beautiful fresh rose, and it's a different kind of take on rose. You'll see the next 4 that I have are much more similar to each other. This is the oddball that stands out. It's very different. It's a very different take on rose. I really love it. I think it would be a safe blind buy. I think most people would like this fragrance. I can't imagine anybody smelling it and completely hating it. They might not fall in love with it, but I feel like it's pretty safe. And the performance on this is not bad at all. I just wore this a few weeks back, and I think I got a good 6 hours out of it before I felt like I needed to reapply. It hung around on clothes for a long time too, and for being an Eau de Toilette formulation, I think that's really pretty good. So anyways, that is Guerlain Mon Guerlain Bloom of Rose. It's a beautiful rose. This next one, this is not going to be a surprise to any of you. This is one of my favorite summertime roses because this has got a lot of cream in it. It's got a milk mousse note. It's got this rice steam note in it, so it's a very milky fragrance. So anyways, we're talking about Salvatore Ferragamo Signorina, the Eau de Toilette formulation. This is another perfume. I've tried pretty much every formulation of this and every flanker. This has always been my favorite one. The only one I haven't tried is the one it's a newer one. It's in the bright pink bottle. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but that's the only one that I haven't tried yet. This is a light and airy kind of citrusy rose as well, but it's got this delicate creaminess to it, and it just is perfect in the heat. It's this really bright, fresh, crisp, very recognizable rose. So this one's totally different from the Mon Guerlain because the rose it's definitely there and you can recognize it, but all of the other notes in this one, I don't know, they kind of mute the rose a little bit. This one is very rose forward. But again, it's not an old-fashioned smelling rose, but it is a realistic smelling rose. It's slightly sweet, it's a little bit citrusy. I think this has got lychee in the top as well. And then with those creamy notes, but the creamy notes don't make it heavy or bog it down. They just make it very, very cozy. It's wonderful in high heat. It's just such a perfect warm weather rose. I should have done this and ranked these. Actually, I will. At the end, I'll rank them and 1 to 5 and tell you what I think my top favorite hot weather rose is. But anyways, this one is just a beauty. This is a people pleaser. I think it's completely safe. And this one performs so well on me. I don't know if other people have luck with this as far as performance goes, but this is incredible. This one I can get a good 7 or 8 hours out of. If I wear this, I don't ever feel like I need to reapply it. It's such a good fragrance. So anyways, that is Salvatore Ferragamo Signorina, the EDT formulation. Okay, next we have got, this is just the most easy breezy hot weather rose ever. This is Amazing Grace Ballet Rose. And this one, I love this, and I love layering it over the lotion. This one is probably the lightest and easiest to wear. They're all easy to wear, but this one is probably the easiest to wear. It's a really light, super fresh, crisp rose. It's almost got like that musky skin-like quality to it. Not musky, musky is not the right word, but it's almost got that warm kind of skin-like quality to it that a lot of the Philosophy fragrances have. It's like that, but then add this really beautiful, very slightly sweet, fresh, crisp rose. It's got a little bit of citrus in the top, which keeps it very light. This is just seriously the easiest reach ever, especially in the summertime. It just smells clean and fresh and like the most delicate little rose you've ever smelled. It's amazing. It is so good layered over the lotion. And if you do layer it over the lotion, you can get, I would say a good 4 hours out of it. I usually reapply this one 3 or 4 times a day when I do wear it, even layered over the lotion. So it's definitely not the best performer in the world, but it is the easiest to reach for on this list for sure. It's just such a beautiful, crisp, delicate rose. Perfect in high heat, and I just adore this one. So anyways, that is Amazing Grace Ballet Rose from Philosophy. Okay, this next one will not be a surprise to any of you either. This is Trussardi Delicate Rose. This is probably the strongest rose on this list. Yeah, this is definitely the strongest perfume on this list. I used to wear Delicate Rose to work a lot when I worked 10-hour days because it was a beautiful, light, bright, fresh, crisp rose that would perform all day. Like, it would get me through a 10-hour workday because it's just super persistent. It's funny because it works way better on skin than on paper. On paper, it doesn't smell as strong as it is, but it definitely is when you spray it on. But anyways, I love this rose. This is a very fresh, clean, shampoo-y rose. This smells like a really beautiful, if you could imagine like a really beautiful, high-end smelling like a Veda shampoo, but if they made a rose scented one. That's what this smells like. I love this one because it's super clean, and again, you definitely get rose, but it's not a traditional smelling rose. It's definitely not old-fashioned in any way. It's very bright, very modern, very young smelling, and really just beautiful and clean. Very clean and fresh and shampoo-y. I just adore it. It's such a beautiful rose. So yeah, this one again performs amazingly. I never would have to reapply this. This is one that I can spray on and I'm good for the day. I do overspray. I overspray everything, so that might have something to do with it, but I just feel like this is a really good performer for being such a light, bright, crisp, fresh rose. It's very slightly sweet, but this one is all about that shampoo-y cleanliness. So anyways, that is Trussardi Delicate Rose, such a beauty. And then last but not least is this one here. This is Guerlain Aqua Allelgoria Rosa Rosa. It's funny because it was a toss-up between this one and my Rosa Pop. I love them both, but Rosa Pop has this really beautiful, it gives me meteorites vibes because it's got this powdery violet thing going on. It's a rose fragrance, but I swear it smells like meteorites to me. Rosa Rosa it's like all of the others, and I'm gonna describe them all the same because they're the same kinds of roses, but they all smell completely different. But this is a light, bright, fresh, crisp, realistic smelling rose. It's got citruses in the top. This one is not really sweet. I would say this is more of like a citrusy fresh rose, but very light, perfect in the heat, and super fresh and crisp and refreshing smelling. Yeah, I would say this is all about the citrus and the rose. It's super beautiful. I would say almost a touch soapy, but not really. Just the slightest touch soapy, but mostly just really fresh and clean. Perfect for high heat. It's a great easy reach. Every single one of these on this list are very safe. They're all gonna be crowd pleasers. They're all gonna be pretty safe blind buys unless you hate rose. If you hate rose, I wouldn't buy any of these except for maybe Mon Guerlain Bloom of Rose because it's the least rose smelling in the bunch. But yeah, this is just beautiful. It's all about the citruses and this really crisp, fresh, light, kind of watery rose. It's really, really beautiful. Performance on this isn't the best, but it's not the worst. I can definitely get a good 3 to 4 hours out of it before I would need to reapply. So yeah, it's not like horrible, but it is one that like if I were going out for the day, I would have to carry in my bag and refresh at some point, which I don't do. If I know I'm gonna be gone and I'm away from the house for an entire day, I'm just gonna wear a perfume that will stick with me the entire day rather than carry something and reapply it. But yeah, this is a really beautiful, perfect hot weather rose. So anyways, that is Aqua Allelgoria Rosa Rosa. Okay, so let's go ahead and rank these 1 to 5. So 5 is gonna be, I mean, I love them all. So even saying that 5 is my least favorite is kind of silly, but for the purpose of ranking them, let's go for it. So I would say number 5 is Amazing Grace Ballet Rose. The only reason I would rank this one number 5 is because of the performance on it. It's not the best performer in the world, but I do feel like it's the easiest reach on this list for sure. So anyways, Amazing Grace Ballet Rose would be number 5. Number 4 would be Mon Guerlain Bloom of Rose. This one, the only reason I ranked it, I guess, lower on the list is because the rose is prominent and you can smell it, but there's so many other notes going on in this one that the rose does kind of get lost. So yeah, as much as I love it, and I definitely get the rose in it and I enjoy it, I feel like that the rose would get lost for a lot of people in this, and so that's why I ranked it number 4. However, this is one of the best performing on this list for sure. So anyways, that is Mon Guerlain Bloom of Rose. Number 3 would be Guerlain Aqua Allelgoria Rosa Pop. This is such a beautiful rose fragrance. It's so clean and bright and fresh. And I love this one because it's not sweet, which makes it really great in the heat. This is mostly just a really beautiful citrus and rose fragrance, and I love it for that. The only problem with this one is it just doesn't perform very well, which is sometimes kind of what you want in really high heat. You want to spray something on and enjoy it, but especially if you are gonna like go outside and you run a chance of getting like overheated, the last thing that you want to do is be choking on your perfume, which is really strong in the heat. So this could be a great fragrance for like if you're gonna go on a hike, or you know, you're gonna go out on the water or something and you're gonna be in the sun for a long time. Like you might want a perfume that's gonna wear off after a few hours. So anyways, that is Aqua Allelgoria Rosa Rosa. That would be number 3. Number 2 would be Trussardi Delicate Rose. This one for me is just everything that I love in a fresh, crisp rose fragrance. It's sweet and watery and fresh. The rose is very prominent and definitely there. It's at the same time though, it's still light and slightly sweet. It's shampoo-y. It's just everything that I love in a perfume. The only thing that it's missing is a creamy aspect to it, and that's why it's number 2. Because number 1 is definitely Signorina, the Eau de Toilette formulation. This is everything that I love in a perfume, in a bottle. It's rosy and fresh and clean, and it's definitely a rose fragrance. Like, you're not gonna mistake this for anything else. It's definitely a rose. But at the same time, it's creamy and warm and milky smelling, and it's beautiful on. It's perfect in really high heat, and it's a cozy, comforting fragrance, even though it's like this fresh, crisp rose. That milk mousse and rice steam give it just something else. It's just, I don't know. You know, it really reminds me a lot of my, let me grab it really quickly. It really reminds me a little bit of this fragrance right here. This is the Aurora par Charles Wong, Linderhof and Morgen. And oh my gosh, this is such an incredible perfume. And the longer I've had it, the better it's getting. I'm sorry, I'm getting off on a tangent here. Oh my gosh. This one, the longer, like the more that it is sitting and macerating, the creamier and warmer it's getting. This is a really, really beautiful, very unique fragrance. This has like a silken tofu note in it, and it is incredible. It's super creamy, and it's a little heavier than any of these other rose fragrances, but it's still very light and fresh and crisp. It's very slightly sweet, but it's got this really beautiful bright citrus in the top. It's just beautiful, and this Signorina EDT reminds me a little bit of this. They don't smell alike at all. I've never smelled anything that actually smells like the Linderhof and Morgen. I've never smelled another fragrance on the market that smells like this. It's very, very unique, but the Signorina EDT has the same kind of vibe. It's bright and crisp and clean and slightly sweet, very, very prominent, fresh, crisp rose, but this beautiful, milky creaminess that doesn't bog the whole fragrance down. It's just the best. It's definitely my number 1 on this list. So anyways, guys, those are my top 5 rose picks for hot weather, also ranked. I do hope that you all enjoyed this. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.